The one and the only, the triple, the G.O.D. Live on Team GRF TV. I'd like to welcome you guys back to another installment of Triple the Guy Speaks On. Earlier today, I had an opportunity to say goodbye to Kyuranger properly. But given how things work when, especially as fans of Toku and Sentai on the English side who have to wait for subs, sometimes you don't get to watch things the way that you should or the way that you get to see them. So if you thought I was done with Kyuranger, you're dead wrong, because you know there are at least two things at a minimum I haven't spoke on. But I'm about to speak on two of those things right now, which technically makes it a 13, but I got you. Uchu Sentai Kyuranger, episode of Stinger. Yeah, so we got the full course of episode of Stinger. And to get that full course of episode of Stinger, we gotta go back before even the movie starts. Which from episode of Stinger, Uchu Sentai Kyuranger, High School Wars. Now, here's the thing, that before I get into this, it is a weird cut of what High School Wars was and what episode of Stinger is. But at the same time, can you really ask questions about that? It's like you could, and I have tried to address them for myself before I hit the record button, and I came up with nothing. So maybe if I discuss this with you guys, maybe, together, as a unit, we can figure something out, right? High School Wars leads into episode of Stinger. Like, you could cut off the first 2 minutes of episode of Stinger and eliminate High School Wars and ignore it if you want to. But High School Wars was a cool thing for multiple reasons. Like, number one, the whole Shinron perp is cheating at QLED chance, bro. Like, that was worth the whole watch. The whole, let's spend a whole episode on Shinron perp is cheating at the QLED chance, bro. I'm like, that was worth the admission. Like, everything else was a magical bonus to a truth at some point in this series you thought of when the QLED chance was a thing, right? I'm like, that whole exchange was dumb. Extra stupid in a way that made zero sense, but I loved every moment of it. The rest of High School Wars was hammy smacking people. That's about how I can, because, there was an art contest, there was Hoshi Minato, hammy slapping people. The vice principal, hammy slapping people. The constellations, hammy slapping people. Lucky using an eraser to kill the monster of the day as part of this High School War thing because he drew a line on the floor. And this is after Champ sat up her and uppercutted everybody after Hammy smacked them. But you also have to remember that High School Wars takes place at a point when that boy Moo Moo Man is going berserk. Like, you don't hear me? And that plays a big part because, see, one of the questions that I had, and you guys can go back and watch the tapes of when one day it's, nobody knows other than the Aibo squad that this is going on. That the next minute, yo, Champ is going berserk, you don't hear me? It's because we have High School Wars and then episode of Stinger, but, I can't talk about that. But let's just say the show in this here of High School Wars and episode of Stinger addresses it a whole lot more than the show did until it mattered that one episode when it mattered. And even in that, let me say this. That episode, whatever episode that was, let's just pretend we don't know, let's just say random episode, right? That it fully comes right back to this. And given that I am watching this after the fact, after I've done everything I'm going to do with Kyuranger as reviewing it, and then thinking about it like, that's kind of sick. That's kind of sick that whole episode where they finally cure that boy Moo Moo Man of going berserk was a whole throwback to episode of Stinger and conclude the High School Wars. I'm like, it is things like this as a fan that I appreciate. That because we are English fans of the show, it's like we get the short end of the stick. We do. We get the short end of the stick of, well, we don't get to watch this stuff live because we got to wait for somebody to sub it. When Saban decides we're going to adapt this, they just pick and choose what they want because that's how adaptation works. And then you miss out on a lot of what's special. See, for like 2 seconds, and I will admit this, when I was really deep in a Sentai hole, it was hard to watch Power Rangers. It was hard to watch Power Rangers. And then it got weird, especially like Megaforce was the point where no. To a less degree, when Samurai was going word for a lot of stuff, and then you just kind of like, oh, I remember that. Like, when Dino Charge did his own thing, and I haven't watched the Ninja Steel episode past 10, and probably won't until it's time for me to say something about the episodes at some point, because, you know, that's a thing I have to do. But for a minute, it became a really weird thing to watch adaptations and then sit up here and be like, okay. So on that end, I will say that just as an encompassing part of this, it's hard being an English fan of Tokusatsu. It is. It's that if all you do is absorb this side of it, you have to wait. Unless you important things, unless you are a Tokusatsu fan that is very, very fluent in Japanese, which I wish I was. Like, my Japanese rudimentary at best. You guys know this. Is that to be able to import every DVD that come out, to sit there and watch it as soon as it come out, ASAP it, and be right where your Japanese counterparts are. I have said this for years, that Sentai's and even Kamen Rider are best watched in binges. Because, especially, like, when I watched Kabuto for the first time, like when I sat down and watched Kabuto for the first time, watched the episodes in order, watched the movies when necessary, watched Hyper Battle DVDs, even though the only thing the Hyper Battle DVD of Kabuto ever really did was give them Hyper Attack to use in the PS2 game, but hey, what you gonna do? It was fun being able to watch that play out for, oh, it's time for the movie to link it back into the show, so let me watch the movie now. Now it's time to watch this other movie. Let me watch this side thing. Let me read this. Let me do that. It was an amazing watch because I got all of that at one time. And when you're watching the show, as I do every week, it gets weird when you see the commercial for the thing you're not going to watch for at least 6 months. It gets crazy. It gets weird. It's like, and then, before we even get into quickly what episode this thing is, let me say this. You might be wondering, why didn't I watch the movie first? Here's the reason. The events of this episode take place before the movie does. So if you were to ask me, like, what would be the order you would watch the show, you watch the show and you would watch, well, then it's kind of hard to really watch, like, what parts of episode of Stinger matter without spoiling what is Kyuranger at that point in the show. And weirdly enough, Birdman is nowhere to be found in this. I have no idea why. There is no Bird. What my name is, you ain't here. Because you just ain't here. In general, period. You just not here, bruh. Is what it is. Stalling for enough time. Episode of Stinger. The Aibo Squad at this point, because this takes place like the flag, because it's like episode of Stinger is mostly a flashback to episode between episode 13 and 14 when Uncle Stinger and Moo Moo Man split up from the squadron, and they do a wonderful job at the beginning of the movie explaining stuff you didn't even see in the show. Of, yeah, Shinron Purple, like, yo, y'all can do this, but let me give you this. Here's a blank queue timer. I don't know what you're going to do with it, but yo, keep that. Go run your game. So they sit up here, and it's like, what I appreciate, especially because it is a flashback, you really get to see Moo Moo Man and that boy Uncle Stinger really build up that fam unity right there, that Aibo love. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna say, Aibo love for your Aibo, your fam, your ace boom. You know what I mean? Like this was like a build up to that. Like the show got more into it, but it was these events that you don't really get to see for 20 episodes from now to really see what it is and how and why all of that came together. You might be wondering how this y'all came together. Well, the bad guy from Dark Matter is Swordman from Mega Man 8. His name is Thunderbird, but just for joke's sake, we're going to call him Swordman from Mega Man 8 because I need an excuse to make a reference to Swordman of Mega Man 8 because you should play the Saturn version. The PlayStation version doesn't exist. I'm just saying that. Anyway, there's this girl, Mika. And the whole time I'm trying to figure out what to do, that I spent most of the movie trying to figure out what name I'm going to call her. And I was like leaning really heavily in like calling her like some evil version of Sunset Shimmer who is always best human. Don't ever try to play me, son. Like the show, like this isn't Pony Roman Reigns here. You know, this isn't Starlight. We ain't trying to push her over. But you know, like, if you really want to be technical, we just gonna call her Mika, because you know Mika who has a thong on and her bra showing, because there was a lot of that. Thank you, episode of Singer, for showing me thong and bra. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that. I don't see that enough in my everyday life, but thank you, show. Regardless of that, here's the setup, because see, trying to sit up here and trying to explain what goes on in the movie makes zero sense, but I'm going to explain this in a way that makes sense to me as the way I watched the movie in my head now that I'm thinking about it. Uncle Stinger meets evil, super cute Sunset Shimmer who has a unicorn arm. They kind of sort of fall in love, but Swordman for Mega Man 8 then sat up her and turned her people, well, not her people, the people that she was kind of rolling with, like this whole group of people, like they show scenes of them sitting up her, like putting her on a cross like Jesus and whooping this girl ass. And I'm like, Uchu Sentai Kyuranger, you wrong as hell for that. Like, they spent like half the movie whooping this girl's ass. Like, one dude ran up to her with a shovel, and I'm just like, what's wrong with y'all? How y'all gonna run up on this cutie with a shovel, bro? I'm like, no. But it was dumb. So for a while, they sit up here and do this. It's like, and then it's like the first time they come through, they like, yo, Kyuranger's in the building. Uncle Stinger and Moo Moo Man in the building, and the people sitting up here and they beating her up, and it's like, of course they sit up here and see that this one person with this super arm or whatever going on is sitting up here harassing the townspeople. So, you know, Uncle Stinger and Moo Moo Man hop into action, and then it's like, and then at some point, Uncle Stinger and cute Mika sit up here and make eye contact, and oh God, you're gonna fall in love, and you know this is a death flag because you know this girl gonna die. So, you know, I'm just sitting up here like, I'm just waiting for you to die. Because see, I've seen this too many times. Like, I have seen girl inside movie, like, look longingly at hero of movie, you finna catch a L. You finna catch a L. You ain't gonna walk out of this. But even given knowing that you ain't gonna walk out of this is that then it made sense why all of a sudden in one episode Stinker got Twilight Sparkle horn and sitting up here doing dirt on fools, and it's like, well, it's good to have some clarification on that. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. See, here's the thing. We find out later in the movie, because I'm just going to jump around for the sake thereof, Swordman from Mega Man 8 has been manipulating cute Mika with the Twilight Sparkle arm to sit up here and do his dirt so that he could get promoted by Donna Wyatt and there, because, you know, Dark Matter them boys or something. I don't know. I don't understand. How does working for Dark Matter work? Make a human, turn on other humans, do dirt, and then you get promoted? Well, you want to know how Swordman from Mega Man 8 got his promotion? At some point in the movie, Mika's so depressed after, you know what I'm saying, Sinker sings her love song and then tells her the story of Uncle Jesse. And it's like, I remember when I saw like the trailer for this, it was like, yo, they gonna tell what happened with Uncle Jesse. Well, technically they don't do that. Technically what this is that if episode of Stinger was just completely this side episode with none of the links to High School Wars or a flashback to anything to what ultimately happens, this could have been like its one-off thing, because this was information that maybe as a fan that I could have used when they were sitting up here going at Uncle Jesse. I could have used this information. Like, this was information I ultimately sussed out, because honestly, the whole arc and whole point of the movie is for Stinger to get his head out of his own ass, because he's going to have to whoop his other ass ultimately, and that's what ultimately happens. So it is what it is. Is that when I think about it, while I'm at this point, again, the the fluff of everything else that surrounds the actual point. Yes, Stinger gets a power up. Yes, that happens. You don't necessarily need any of this information because all of the information you actually legitimately need is the following. You need Mika to be the proxy of, to be for that boy, Uncle Jesse. Because of everything that she's been dragged through, blah, 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 you got to understand that work ultimately has to put in, and sometimes people just cannot be saved. That's just what it is. Even though Uncle Jesse's arc ended ultimately way different. Mainly of, you know what I'm saying, yo, my last breath, yo, I'm going to help you, little brother, after you can whoop my ass. But, you know, that's a thing that happened, right? So, ultimately, through all this back and forth, Stinger singing her love songs, and actually that part where they flash back to Uncle Jesse, I swear, I looked at this and I said, and I quote, and I'm gonna put this in review. This remind me of listening to Good Kid, Mad City. Like, yo, Kendrick, we got this beat CD, come in the car, like. You got Stinger sitting up here just straight. He freestyling, singing, and I'm just like. This dude think he's Stinger Kendrick. That's his name. His name is Kendrick Stinger now. That's his name. Kendrick, you Uncle Kendrick Stinger. Cause I'm like, he's sitting up here freestyling off the dome these love songs, and I'm like, once upon a time, my name was Uncle Stinger, and then I sung a whole bunch, but then my brother murdered everybody, and then I had a side story where I met a cute girl, but then she died, because that's just how these movies work, or something like that. Look. After all this happens and some back and forth and, oh God, I think I might be able to get some ass from you, she goes back. It's like, because the thing in the other side of this movie is you got Swordman from Mega Man 8, and I told you earlier, manipulating her to do this. You know what he ultimately manipulates her to do? After the third time they done whoop this girl ass, she go over there and go berserk on these niggas. Like, she sits up here, hits them with the Dynasty Warriors, murders everybody. Everybody in the club gets murdered, like dead, D-E-D dead. You don't even need the second vowel. Everybody is dead. You've caught the ultimate L. You want to know why you caught the ultimate L? Stop being a bully. See, this is just like the bully that come up and shoot up the school. Like, you shouldn't have been bullying his ass because, yo, his daddy had an AK, just happened to have it unlocked, and now y'all got sprayed down. Oops, yo bad. So, at this point, cute Mika with the Twilight Sparkle arm then murders everybody. And then she leaves, and then as soon as she leaves, Uncle Kendrick Stinger, and Moo Moo Man come in like, what happened here? Oh, wait, the girl that you let go, she killed everybody. Oops. Gotta go bury all these dead people. So Uncle Stinger sits up here and sings another freestyle love song while him and Moo Moo Man burying people. And I'm just like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, are you for real? Like, he freestyles thinking we burying bodies, and I'm just like, I love this shit. I couldn't help but laugh. And now, I didn't laugh then. That was a serious thing. I'm laughing now because I just think in hindsight, it's funny as hell. Moving on. So now that Mika has done this thing by murdering everybody, she goes back to Swordman from Mega Man 8 and is like, yo, here's a power up. Because see, now you really finna become the proxy for Uncle Jesse. So she turns into a monster, you know what I'm saying? Turns into full things. After she leaves and they finally catch up to her, you know what I'm saying? They like, we gonna save you, because at some point in this, before they get to this point, Moo Moo Man chases down Swordman for Mega Man 8 and gets demolished. But then he meets back up with Uncle Stinger and like, it ain't her. It's Swordman for Mega Man 8 though. Like, he weak to the water balloon, but yeah, we gotta go whoop this fool because he the one behind all of this. And then we get a point at some point where he explains his whole master plan. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So, in whatever, when they fight her and she finally transforms, she don't get a full transformation. She gets like boob armor and like a face thing, and I'm just like, this lazy as hell. Like this girl a badass with this Twilight Sparkle super arm. Like you know what I'm saying? Like she finna hit up, man. You know what? I just thought of that. Like for real. Like I was finna go with that reference for real. With the Super Joe bionic arm though. Bionic arm! Like yo. We really need a Sentai version of Bat Ride War. For real. Like giving that boy Uncle Stinger them joints, man, work. Oh, but ultimately they put in the work on her, and then like after they whoop her ass, she begs them, like she's sitting up her like fighting the transformation or whatever, about to die. She's begging like Uncle Stinger to kill her, but then you know what I'm saying, Swordman from Mega Man 8 slashes her with this big giant slash, knocks everybody back, and then sits up her and takes like 3 minutes to explain what his master plan was. And if you want me to repeat his master plan, I can for you. Dark Matter comes in, make everybody angry, blamed cute Mika Twilight Sparkle arm girl, and then they sit up her and start to persecute her, hang her up like Jesus, whoop her ass a whole bunch until she goes crazy and ultimately murders them, and then Uncle Stinger sings a song while they're burying bodies. Hey, I don't make this stuff up. It is what it is. Oh, Uncle Stinger and Moo Moo Man about to fight him, but he like, yo, I'm out this bitch. Peace! And pieces out. Which ends the flashback. So what we've had is real stuff happening after High School Wars, because I didn't tell that part, so let me tell that part. So at the end of High School Wars, they start a fight with the principal of the school they infiltrated, and then they sitting up here like, yo, Q&O, and then Moo Moo Man go berserk, you don't hear me, and then Uncle Stinker chases after him to start the movie, and then they sit up here and they meet up with Swordman from Mega Man 8, who catches them off guard, knocks them off the thing, and they sit up here like, oh, those are Mika's flowers, and he sits up here, holds the cue timer. Once upon a time, I met a hot chick and I want to bang her, but then Swordman from Mega Man 8 killed her, and then there's a whole bunch of flashbacks, and then you had a flashback about Uncle Jesse within the flashback of your flashback, and here we are in present time. I'm just going to skip to the point. You didn't murder Stinger's girlfriend, whose ass he didn't get? Yeah, Swordman from Mega Man 8 takes a fucking L. Fucking L. Take this L. Untie this Twilight Sparkle Impacto. Put a big giant hole in this food chest. We could sit up here and say Lucky and everybody else who was part of High School Wars, and who was all in the High School Wars. You got Lucky, you got that boy Nagare, you got Sexy Henny, you got who else? You got Sandy Jr. And you got Japanese Justin. They was all part of that, and Uncle Stinger too, and then Moo Moo Man joined them at some point. You guys know that part. They all come in like, yo, we sit up here doing the work. He sit up here before the fight like, yo, leave this fool to me, and then he get hit with this and turns Twilight Sparkle Impacto, big high hole in the chest, and that's the movie. They sit up here and it's like, and then it leads back into the rest of the episode, and then you got Stinger at the end looking like this the ending to the Incredible Hulk TV show. Like, my name is Robert Banner and I'm sad, 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 and then the credits roll, and I'm just like. I'm just like, yo, I'm like, this wasn't like mad edgy or anything weird like that. This was just something crazy that I'm sitting up here putting my own spin on, because it's the only thing I can legitimately do. The only thing that I can legitimately do, right? This was off the chain. I gotta say, and I will always say this anytime I watch a movie out of order, it'd have been better if I'd have watched it when it mattered. If they would have took out and made like a whole movie around the flashback part of episode Stinger and placed it in the series where it belonged, that would make it even better. Not saying that the combination of both High School Wars and episode of Stinger together ain't fun, but having it tied in with Moo Moo Man going berserk, and by the way, he didn't show up for the final battle, but it was called Episode of Stinger and not Eyeball Squad, so it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. It's cool. Okay, it's cool. This was great. I'm like, see, I'm glad I had the opportunity to be like, yo, I'm gonna watch this, because I sat down with like, I had other plans like all week, like I told you guys at the beginning, like, you know what? If you made it to the end of this, let me share to you what my plan was. There have been movies of Sentai and Kamen Rider that weren't subbed by the people who watched them. So you gotta watch them subbed by the people who subbed them because you just gotta hold that L sometime. This was that. I watched, like I said at the beginning, I watched episode of Stinger because I've watched the whole series. It would have been really spoily watching that out of order. But, you know what I'm saying? I could watch the movie right behind this and it's not really going to affect my enjoyment A or B. But like I said, if you would have took out everything that was the flashback of episode of Stinger and let that be what it is right there between episode 13 and 14, where the eyeball squad split up from the rest of the crew, that it would have had a greater impact at that point. But I understand that in hindsight of and why, when it comes to making movies and things like that, why they released it right there, because you needed something to drive what the current plot was, and it was, you know what I'm saying, ultimately I'm gonna sing a song to this robot cow, and then I'm going to, you know, put my stinger right where it is, and it's like, happy Dr. Anton's gonna be cool disappearing or something weird. Like that whole episode where they went to Anton's house was like weird though. Like they went to Professor Hakase's house. They were like, "Yo, bro, what up, family?" And I'm like, regardless, regardless, great episode. We got more of these. Since I told you what the plan was, and I think I did, was I'm trying to catch up on like movies. I know Cowboy versus Indians, man. You know, the subs for that to be out any minute. I know that Build is out right now, and I need to watch the Oreo platform fight, so I'll probably do that a little later. But I'm just gonna try to catch up on some Sentai and some Kamen Rider movies that I haven't had the opportunity to watch that I know are subs. So just be watching for those reviews as they come out. I'd like to thank all of you guys for joining me for another installment of Triple the Guy Speak On. Are you alright? Yeah, you okay. I don't know, somebody outside playing California Love. I'm just sitting up here like, California Love. I'm like, it is what it is. Regardless, y'all, I'm going to turn this into a video. You know what it is, the one and the only, the triple, the G.O.D. I'd like to thank all of you for joining me for another installment of Triple the Guy Speaks On. And with that being said, what would I say? Oh, antes Twilight sparkling back though.